In this video today, we're just going to go over the modules, how they're laid out, and explain what you're looking at when you see it. So I'm going to start here at the home page. I'm going to go over to my modules link, and remember that's at the bottom of most pages as well. And here's my module view, my list of all the different course modules. Now each module in this course is going to have a specific amount of information. It's going to cover a specific topic, and the introduction page will always tell you what's going to be covered in each module. This is the very first module you'll see in almost every course if you're taking apprenticeship classes at Salt Lake Community College. You always start off with the introduction to Canvas, you'll go over safety, and then you'll get into the real material in that course. This is line worker 1A, so they're starting right off with introduction to transmission and distribution systems. Now a couple things to note right away with these modules, especially looking at this module number 3. We can see here the very first page in that module. You can click on that. All the other ones are grayed out. In each module, you have to go through the different pages in sequence. You can't just skip to every module and go and take the quiz. You have to look at the material in the introduction page. You have to look at the videos in the main content page. You have to go through the review questions. The answers to your review questions in the workbook will also be here, and then you can take the quiz. With many of these modules as well, we have these limited to a specific time period. You'll normally have about 2 weeks at a time to go through usually 1 or 2 modules. And you can see here they've got different dates. This is when that module unlocks. You won't be able to go to that module until that time. But once a module unlocks, it'll stay unlocked for the rest of the course. So let's go into one of these modules and let's look at the first piece. You always see the introduction pages first, and we'll click on this one right here. Now the introduction page will give you an introduction to what this module is going to be about. Gives you a short description, and also it's going to give you a whole bunch of module objectives. These are all the things you should be able to get out of the material in this module. So these are all the different things you should learn from looking at this video, from reading the student workbook and doing the questions in that. It's always a good idea to go through these because it kind of gives you a heads up. So when you're watching the video, you know what to look for. When you're going through that student workbook, you know what to look for. You know what we're going to kind of be testing when it comes time to the quiz at the end. So now that I've read all these module objectives, I'm going to go ahead and go to my next page. Now this next page is the main content. It's going to have a video. Usually these are anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour long. So plan a good amount of time to sit down and watch these videos. Don't just watch them passively. Make sure you're paying attention. Take some notes, and especially if you have those module objectives handy, you can kind of, while you're watching the video, you can see that information come up, and you can get a better idea of what's going on. Also, we have a link to the student workbook for this specific module. We talked before about going to the documents page where we can see all the workbooks, but for each module, every time you see the video, you'll see a link to that specific workbook. And make sure you watch the video, pause it when you need to, rewind it when you need to. Make sure you're really trying to get the information out of that, and you're not just hitting play and walking away, because it doesn't really help you when it comes time to take the quiz. Again, we tell you how long it is so you can kind of plan for how much time you need, and it gives you a good quick overview of what this video is gonna tell us. Now with these videos, you can either watch it just like this by hitting the play button, and then sometimes they take a couple seconds to load. It depends on how fast your internet connection is. We'll give that just a second more. Sometimes they take a minute to start. They'll always start out the same way though. You can also, let me hit my back button here. You can also click this link over here. That'll allow us to either open it right now with Windows Media Player or whatever you happen to use on your computer, or you can save it. So that way you can download it and you can watch it when you want without having to be online at the time. If you're watching it with an iPad or your phone, maybe you're in a place where you have a Wi-Fi signal, you download it, then later on you go watch it when you can. So watching that video can work either way. Either one is just as fine. It's all the same material. I'll stop that real quick. Okay, so now that we've watched the video, throughout the video it's going to tell us to stop, go read certain sections in the student workbook, do the questions associated with that. Make sure you do those, and on the next page we'll be able to discuss the correct answers to those workbook questions, and we can always start discussions on why those were the correct answers and all that stuff. But at least here you can go back and you can check yourself, make sure you got the right answer, because this is also where some of the quiz questions are going to come from. So make sure you've watched that video, you've read the workbook, you've done all those questions, you've checked it to make sure you got everything right. Once you've got all that, then we're going to move on to the quiz. Now here's the quiz page. It'll tell you how many points this whole quiz is worth. And also sometimes the quizzes along with the modules will be locked for certain dates. And we'll see that later. Now you can just hit the take the quiz button. And now we've got the quiz. These are pretty standard questions. These are just little radio buttons, little circle buttons, if you will. And you can just answer the right question. This is just a regular multiple choice. Sometimes you've got the drop downs. You hit that little button, you've got two choices for each one of these. And here's another multiple choice. Some more drop downs. Now sometimes we have drop downs where we have to put things in order. Say I want transmission lines first, switch yard next, distribution next, and substation last. We also have a lot of true-false questions. Those are pretty simple. The one other question I really want to show you, though, are the one with multiple answers. And here's one. Now, any question with multiple answers will always start out with choose the correct answer or answers. And you see you've got squares here instead of circle. Now, in this question, it says choose two types of insulators commonly used on transmission lines. So you know right away two of these are going to be a right answer. So you've got to pick at least two of these. Sometimes you'll have questions where it'll look like a multiple choice, but it'll have these squares instead of circles. So you'll have more than one answer you have to choose to get the whole question right. Well, I'm going to pick all three of those because I know at least one of those is going to be wrong. And once you've answered all these, you can hit Submit Quiz. Now, of course, I haven't answered all these, so it gives me a pop to warn me. That's okay, I don't mind right now. Now, once I've done that, I can scroll back down, and I can see, well, I got this one wrong. I've got to think about this one, come up with the right answer. I got at least one of these wrong. I may have got one right, but I got at least one wrong. I can see I got this question right. That's good. And let's scroll down to that one with the multiple answers. Here we go. Here I know I'm partially wrong. So I've clicked the right ones, but I've also clicked a wrong one. So I know I've got something wrong. And it reflects the points here too. I only get half the points for this if I don't go through, try to take it again and try to do better. And you can always see right here your score. You can see how long you took, and you can go in and take the quiz again. Now, I'll give you a fair warning now. When you go to take these quizzes over again, the answers won't be in the same order. For questions 3, let's just say I have this wrong. Well, it's not the first one and it's not the second one. Well, when you go to take this again, transmission lines and substations may not be in the top anymore. They may be reordered. So make sure you understand what the answer to the question is and don't just try to remember what the right answer is, because they're going to be in a different order.